Hello everyone, Megan here, and today I have a very special video for you. For a lot of people, their favorite aspect of the Anne of Green Gables series is the Anne and Gilbert subplot. And I actually did have a request on my last All Things Anne video from Marissa to bring you a video about Gilbert. So that's what I am doing today. Now, just to let you know, there will be spoilers for Anne of Green Gables, the book, not for the rest of the series. Trying to keep that, a nice hard line there. But, if you've come to this video, I'm sure you've already either watched or read Anne of Green Gables. So let's get right into it. So I've never met someone who didn't like Gilbert. Everybody loves Gilbert. And today I want to talk about why we all love Gilbert. So here are a few things, a few examples of when he shows how wonderful he is. So something that we all love Gilbert is that he forgives Anne. One of the most infamous scenes in the Anne of Green Gables series, the most iconic scene of any Anne of Green Gables adaptation, is the slate breaking scene when Gilbert pulls Anne's hair. He's been trying to get her attention all morning. He eventually pulls her braid and calls her carrots. And this is the worst thing that he could have done for Anne because she is so sensitive about her hair color. So she pops up with her slate in her hands and she says, "How dare you!" And she says, "You mean hateful boy, how dare you!" And then she slams that slate over his head. Now, a lot of people, their first reaction would be like, "Oh my goodness, what are you thinking? Like, I didn't even do anything and you did that to me." Like, first reaction would be like anger. No. With Gilbert, his first reaction is shock. Like, what? I was not expecting that at all. But then as soon as Mr. Phillips comes down to, punish Anne, basically, he starts freaking out at Anne, Gilbert immediately takes responsibility. He's like, "No, it was my fault. I teased her." So it's like, if you're taking responsibility like that, you're obviously instantly forgiving someone. He instantly knew, I went too far, and he instantly forgave her for assaulting him, basically. That is such an endearing reaction. The fact that he realized where he went wrong and that he didn't blame her, I mean, that's almost a little unrealistic. I mean, if I was in Gilbert's place, I don't think I would have acted as wonderfully as he did. But that's what makes us all love him. Another scene where he shows this forgiveness is the Lily Maid scene, which is another one of my favorite scenes. I talk about these favorite scenes in my previous video, actually. I'll link it below. In this scene, Anne has floated down the river in a boat. She's been stranded under this bridge on one of these pilings holding the bridge up, and Gilbert comes along, sees her, and rescues her. Now, after, when he's rowed her to the landing, they're off on land, she's just like, "Thank you, Gilbert Blythe," and she's starting to walk away. And he's like, "Whoa, hold on, like, can't we be friends? It's been so long since that happened. Like, can't we be friends?" And so it's like, again, he's offering her forgiveness. Again, he's like, he's not holding what she did to him against her. She, on the other hand, is being terrible and holding a grudge, but he is not doing that. He is like extending the olive branch once again. Another thing that we love about Gilbert is that he is so kind. You never read about him being like disrespectful to anyone, not to Mr. Phillips, even though he's crazy, not to his father. He's always kind to Marilla, to Mrs. Lynde. He's just kind to everybody. One example of this that I really love is after this whole slate breaking scene has happened, they're in the classroom. Mr. Phillips has forced them to sit together, which in that time was very immodest. Like, the boys sat on one side of the classroom, the girls sat on the other. So to have a boy and a girl in the same bench together, like the same little school bench, it's like really quite shocking. And I love this how as soon as Anne sits down in the pew, she's so dramatic, she sits down in the pew and she immediately puts her head down and she covers her head in shame and embarrassment. And I love what Gilbert does. He doesn't laugh at her, even though this is hilarious what she's doing. He doesn't laugh at her, he takes her seriously, but he takes a little candy heart. You don't see this in a lot of the film adaptations. It is in the book though. He has this little candy heart and he kind of nudges it under her elbow so that she can see it as she's like this. So he nudges it under her elbow. And of course, what she does is very ungracious. She stands up, throws the candy heart on the ground, and grounds it with her heel to dust. And then she sits back down. She doesn't even look at him. So she's really like feisty, but terrible, like Anne. But she is so hurt. He has said the worst thing ever to her. Like the absolute worst thing that he could say. He has said that. Not meaning to, but you know. So I just love how he's so kind. Even when Anne's treating him this way, he's like, here's a candy heart. Again, is it totally realistic of like a 13-year-old boy to do this? I don't know, but it's why we all love Gilbert. Another thing that we all love about Gilbert, which happens at the very end of the book of Anne of Green Gables, so if you haven't got that far, this might be a bit of a spoiler for you, but what he does is they are both going to be teachers. They've graduated, they're both going to be teachers, and the school board gives him the Avonlea School. And Anne has another school, I think it's the White Sands School. And instead of, if Anne has to take the White Sands School, it means that she'll have to live in White Sands away from Marilla, and she won't be able to care for Marilla. So what does Gilbert do? He gives up the Avonlea School. He says, no, take Anne Shirley instead. She'll be better for this job. And he goes and he takes the White Sands job. So he has to, drive out all the time. It's very inconvenient for him. It would have been much more convenient to have the Avonlea School. But he gives that up for Anne so that she can stay and live with Marilla. So he really sacrifices for her. And that is really endearing. Like that's really kind of him. And that's really just a good thing to do. Like Gilbert is a good guy. Now, another reason why we all love Gilbert, which is, it's a bit more of a shallow reason, but it adds, as Ella Montgomery would say, humor adds spice to life, or it is the spice of life. So, Gilbert is funny. Like, calling her carrots was a joke after all. He wasn't meaning to be mean. It was supposed to be a joke. He is funny. Like, the way he teases Anne and he tells jokes. He's got a sense of humor. So he's not just like this perfect man who, or this perfect boy. He also has humor, and he does funny things throughout the whole series. Like, this lasts until, as far as we hear about Gilbert, which is when he's a grandfather. The Road to Yesterday and the Blythes are quoted. This is the sanitized version published in the 70s. This is the actual version that Ella Montgomery wanted to publish. We hear about Gilbert in these books up until he is a grandfather. So that just tells you he never lost his sense of humor. Of course not. It's so good. That's why we love Gilbert. Okay, another thing that we love about Gilbert is that he does have his flaws. They are few and far between. I think Gilbert could use some more flaws, actually, to make him more realistic. But he does have... He's still, he's not a total doormat. So when at the Lily Maid scene, when they're on the landing and he's just said, it's so long ago, won't you forgive me? Can't we just be friends? And Anne, in her heart of hearts, has forgiven him. She's forgiven him. She's over it. She wants to be friends with Gilbert. She likes him. She wants to have this friendship. But instead of saying, yes, I forgive you, Gilbert, let's be friends, her pride gets in the way and stops her from saying anything, and she refuses to forgive him. And she's just wasted another couple years of their lives not being friends. So that is very frustrating. But Gilbert, he does snap at that point. He says, fine, I'll never ask you to be my friend again, Anne Shirley, and he runs off. So it's like, or he rows off, I should say. At some point he does snap, which I like. That's more realistic, and I think he could have had more faults, but at the same time, it's why we love Gilbert Blythe. Another thing is that back when Anne slammed that slate over Gilbert's head, Gilbert did kind of need to be put in his place. Like, he was teasing the girls and kind of like breaking their hearts a bit. Like, he was kind of playing with their emotions a bit. All these different girls who he knew had crushes on him. And one thing that he did was he pinned Ruby Gillis's braid to the back of her desk so that when she stood up, she got yanked back down into her seat. And so, like, sometimes he did go a little too far with his tricks. And Anne kind of, when she exploded at him, that was the first time that he had been really kind of seen that, whoa, I have gone too far. I have gone too far. I need to be more careful in how I treat women. And so, or girls, I should say. So I do like that. I like that Anne stands up to him. It makes the whole Anne Gilbert storyline just so fun, so interesting. Now, the other thing about Gilbert is that we can fill in the rest ourselves. So he's not the main character of the book. He's actually a very small part of the book. When you read Anne of Green Gables, there's a lot, I mean, yeah, he is a big part of the book, but there's a lot more about her and Diana, and there's a lot more about her and Marilla and Matthew, and a lot more about her and Mrs. Lynde. There's a lot of stuff going on in Anne's life. And same thing with the rest of the series. It's not the Anne and Gilbert series. It is the Anne of Green Gables series. So I do like that a lot. Kind of gives us the opportunity to fill in the rest. So whatever you like in particular, you kind of paint that onto Gilbert and you have a specific image of Gilbert. So we all do have different images of Gilbert that we have. Although Jonathan Crombie's portrayal in the 1986 Anne of Green Gables miniseries, he is like the quintessential Gilbert. I feel like people often, when they think of Gilbert Blythe, they're thinking of Jonathan Crombie as Gilbert Blythe, and he is excellent as Gilbert, like excellent. But I haven't seen the whole Anne with an E series, but I think that Gilbert is pretty good too. So yeah, we can all kind of see our own version of Gilbert. All this to say, we love Anne, but let's not be like Anne, where she let her pride stop her from forgiving Gilbert. Let's not do that. Let's forgive people and tell them that we forgive them. And let's also not be like Anne, where we have this ideal dream man in our mind and we miss the people right in front of us. So let's not do that with Gilbert either. Let's not be like, oh, I want to marry Gilbert Blythe and no one else will do. Gilbert Blythe is a fictional character and we have real people in our lives around us. So let's not do that. Let's live in the present moment. Let's be kind to people. Let's have humor. Let's forgive people. We can learn all kinds of things from Gilbert, from Anne. So anyways, that is my video for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you all are filled with peace, hope, love, and joy. So take care, everyone. Bye.